Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we are doing another X-Men character review, this time looking at the Epic Quest finalist native tier 2 combat character Wolverine. Now, a lot of people were initially curious as to whether or not Wolverine was going to overtake Agent Venom for combat hero Extreme Alliance battle scoring. And I have to say, with both positive and negative feelings, yes. Unequivocally, Wolverine is the champion of combat Extreme Alliance battle, and I'll get into it in another video why it's kind of an annoyance, but you have your answer now. Wolverine greater than Agent Venom and all of the rest. Now let's check out what makes Wolverine such a potent character and almost on par with his other Epic Quest running mate. The skills on Wolverine might look fairly normal at first glance, but they're actually extremely powerful in-game once you start using them. His first skill, Wild Claw, is very straightforward. It has a movement element to it, but it's not an iframe, but he does lunge forward. His second skill, Adamantium Blitz, has a small iframe in it, and it also lunges forward, kind of goes through the opponent to go to the other side, and kind of does residual slashes after Wolverine is done. So even though the animation is finished, the damage will continue to rack up, particularly good for finishing off opponents in timeline after their invincibility bubble has run out, like for example Dormammu. Then his third skill, X-Slash, is a flurry of hits that also lunges forward and puts Wolverine face to face with his enemies. This attack doesn't have an iframe, so it will leave you very vulnerable, but it does rack up a lot of damage and points in Extreme Alliance battle. His 4-star passive is what we've come to know and love from our Berserker. He basically just heals all of his health back. For me, with only 160% recovery, he heals for about 9,000 per tick every single time, which is insane. With the 5-second Obelisk of invincibility, you're guaranteed to get back 25% of your life whenever you reach 50%. It makes Wolverine insanely hard to kill. His fourth skill, Berserker Slice, is one of his best utility skills. It has an iframe at the beginning when he lunges up with an uppercut motion, and then he comes down to deal some more damage, but the effect that it gives him is really important. It gives him a 40% dodge ignore for 10 seconds, which is fantastic against both World Boss and World Boss Ultimate, Corvus Glaive, and others. But then it also gives him a 75% chance to pierce barrier, shield, and all damage immune effect. So he can take down Doctor Strange when he's in the Sorcerer Supreme ability, he can take down Odin when he uses his 5th skill, and others, which makes him a constant threat to any character in PvP. And then his 5th skill, Berserker Rage, is insane as far as damage goes. It's a very long, very widespread AoE slash, and he basically just disappears and fills the screen up with slashes all around. It's basically one of the coolest looking skills in the game. His leadership is pretty boring. Debuff duration is decreased, but this is really not useful. You need either debuff removal or another leadership altogether. So I don't think this is going to cut it against Doctor Strange's time freeze and other effects. And then his Weapon X tier 2 passive is pretty nuts. And since he's native tier 2, you get access to this right away, even if the character is only 2 or 3 stars. All defense and super armor is fantastic. He does not need guard break immune on his Obelisk. And then increased crit damage 50% is going to help you hit that cap of 186 very comfortably. And then guaranteed crit 50%, which is insane, guys. So powerful. He basically crits like 75% of the time once you build crit onto his gear and have someone like Warwolf next to him in your team. As far as the rotation goes, I think people are most interested in something for Extreme Alliance battle. While I wasn't able to reach the highest plateau that some other players have reached, there are rumors of guys hitting about 500,000 with Wolverine. I was able to hit 391, which I think is respectable. This is the rotation that I found most useful for Extreme Alliance battle with Wolverine. And you can of course use any rotation you want with him. You can't really go wrong. But specifically in Extreme Alliance battle, when the fight initially starts, after I've passed my buff from Warwolf over, I use the 5th skill immediately, then the 3, the 2, and the 1. I usually cancel the 3 midway into the 2 because of the iframe when I see a meteor is falling. That is only for the first initial wave. After that, after you've gotten the switch complete and you're starting again on the second wave of mobs and on the Frost Beast, The rotation is 4 to time your proc, to trigger your damage proc on your Obelisk. Then cancel 4 into 5, so you maintain your iframe and don't lose the meteor bar. Then the 2, which also is an iframe. Then you kite away and you come back with the 1 because it has movement, and you ideally want to dodge as many meteors as possible. And then again, you use the 4 to proc your damage Obelisk, and then the 5th skill when it procs to get the most out of that increased damage. There's another one that you can use which is similar, but you mix in the 3 after the 5 and cancel the 3 into the 2 when you see a meteor coming. That one is much more risky, and you're much more likely to get stunned by 5 meteors in a row, but you can do it if you want some extra damage and you want to live life on the edge. As far as Wolverine's gears go, he's got physical attack and attack speed on his first gear, which is good. Second gear's got physical defense and HP. HP is a secondary stat, but still that's a juicy 1372 when it's all maxed out, which is great for his survivability. Third skill is dodge and crowd control time. Not particularly good, but that's okay. And then the last one is ignore defense, fantastic, and recovery rate. So the recovery rate kind of synergizes with his tier 2 passive, 4-star passive, but he's noticeably missing crit damage and crit rate. So none of those are on his main stat. So for that reason, once you roll the first 3 gears accordingly, the 4th gear should probably be rolled with mostly crit rate. You might need to give him some skill cooldown because he's missing that native as well on his gear, but you could also give it to him on his Uru. But the 4th gear, if you can stomach it, should be getting something along the lines of some skill cooldown or ignore defense, and then mostly crit rate. You don't want to go with crit damage because he already has a lot of it, so you just want to go and stack crit rate to boost, thank you for the Dimension Rift, his damage as much as possible. As far as the Uru goes, you absolutely must give him 2 physical attack Urus, as I have there. Then you should absolutely give him 2 crit rate Urus if you want to use him for Extreme Alliance battle. So that already covers 4 of your 5 Urus for every single slot. Thank you for the Dimension Rift. The last slot, that 5th slot, you will need to give him at least 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 4 skill cooldown Urus, depending on how much you need and how much you've already got from your cards, because you don't want to roll skill cooldown on your ISO 8 set. If you have any extra left over, you could give him a crit damage Uru, you could give him an HP Uru. If you want to build Wolverine defensively, but I don't know why you would, you can definitely substitute those crit rate Urus for HP Urus, but I wouldn't recommend that. For the Obelisk, you absolutely need the following 2 effects: immune to snare, damage proc. This is the classic staple for the combat hero scores. You may be able to take off your Obelisk from either Moon Knight or Agent Venom or Iron Fist if you have used them before in the past, but if not, you're going to have to roll up a new one. However, if you want to be absolutely perfect, there is some value in rolling an Obelisk that has snare resist, stun resist for those pesky meteors, and a damage proc. It will be nigh impossible to roll that Obelisk, but should you be able to, it will be a fantastic help to your overall score. On the other hand, if you want to build Wolverine defensively, you could go for something like max HP, invincibility, and recovery rate. With those 3 in tandem, he will be extremely difficult to kill with high HP and extremely high recovery, and even when he takes damage, if he's not one-shotted, he'll recover most of it almost instantly while the invincibility bubble is protecting him. As far as the ISO 8 set goes, I know I originally said way back when the update dropped to go for Hawk's Eye, but I've changed my mind. It's Power of the Angry Hulk or Power of Angry Hulk or Overdrive. You want to get those 5 offensive ISOs, and it will give you the ignore defense, so you only have to worry about skill cooldown for your Uru. If you want to go defensive for Wolverine, although again I don't know why you would, because he is the top dog for combat Extreme Alliance battle, you could go for something like Binary Power, which is going to give him more recovery rate, more HP, and then a bubble. And because Wolverine has such insane native HP, it's going to give him so much extra HP, he might be impossible to kill with Binary Power and an invincibility proc Obelisk. So that would probably be the ideal defensive PvP set. As far as where to farm Wolverine, you can't. Just like Doctor Strange, you have to jump through all the hoops of the Epic Quest in order to obtain Wolverine. I've talked about the requirements before, so if you don't know what is needed to get this Sabretooth killing machine, then you should go check out that video. You need 4 characters at 5 stars and a bunch of other materials. I am very happy with how the Epic Quest has turned out as far as the thematics go and as far as the requirements. I think it's reasonable. I will talk in another video about some of the caps on certain items that have upset the community, but that's for another day. Let's take a look at how Wolverine does against a world boss. Oh, and I'm back, dog. Is Superior Spider-Man any good? He's okay. He's better without the uniform if you're kind of a noob. If you're kind of a noob-a-rack, he's better with the uniform. Yes, I got that damage proc. Don't die, don't die, don't die. Smurf. Oh, smashed it! And I'm back, dog. Oh, you just went and turned your back, dog. Oh, that we were family. You show me I'm in the top fucking 30. My final thoughts on Wolverine are that he really embodies what a physical character should be. You know, for a long time and still, we have this imbalance between energy and physical. But now with a native tier 2 combat, physical character only, pure physical damage in your face action, we have a little bit of parity or a little bit more balance between the two. And he may not overtake Doctor Strange, but I think Wolverine is as close as we're gonna get for the time being to having someone to match Doctor Strange's power, burst damage, survivability, and utility in the game. Wolverine can do it all. He's probably one of, if not the fastest clearers in the game for content, so he may be taking over Odin's spot for that, and he's just a beast from top to bottom, and his ease of use is just fantastic. But of course, guys, let me know what you think of the Epic Quest. Let me know what you think of Wolverine. I will try to get a Beast review done for you guys, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So in the meantime, let me know in the comment section what else you want me to talk about regarding the X-Men update. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow, bub. Take care.